evening, everyone. It's nice to see a full house. And we'd like to start our meeting off with Director England giving us advice.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
We are missing Director Erdman at this time, otherwise all present.
Approval of the minutes. All in favor? Opposed? Adoption of the agenda. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Yes. Administrative reports, Dr. McInerney and Dr. Yeah.
Good evening. I'm going to speak on behalf, or at least introduce and teach on behalf of Dr. McInerney and myself. We're going to hand it over to Mrs. Varvel, who is going to do a presentation.
We're here to talk to you a little bit about what we're learning in science. My name is Laura Varvel, and I teach first grade at East Hanover. And this is my friends Sawyer, and Reese, and Savannah, and Emily, and Mira. Okay. We are learning a lot about how life cycles happen and the changes that are involved. We're growing plants in our classroom called brassica plants. We planted seeds, and they've grown from a seed to a full-grown plant, and we're getting ready to harvest those seeds from those plants to show the cycle has repeated. We also are watching butterflies, well, caterpillars develop into butterflies in our classroom. And some of the kids would like to talk a little bit about some of the words we're learning when we talk about those cycles. The first word that we learned was
photosynthesis.
Okay, and what does that mean?
When the plant's leaves gather sunlight to make food for the plant and oxygen for us.
And the next word we talked about was metamorphosis. Do you want to do your motion?
Metamorphosis means when a caterpillar is changing and growing out of its skin. Molting means shedding its skin and shedding.
Shedding. Right, sprout is a baby plant. Very good. And we have one last thing we'd like to do for you. We learned a little bit of motions to remember the cycle for a butterfly. Ready? Okay. The butterfly, the caterpillar starts as an egg, so you get some, and then he eats his shell, hatches out, and he grows, and he sheds, and he molts, and he sheds, until finally he feels like he makes a chrysalis. Yeah, and inside, what happens? Changes and changes and changes until he hatches out and he's a
Butterfly.
And then what does he do?
He lays eggs.
Lays eggs. And then what happens to the butterfly?
He dies.
Oh, I know.
That was one of our
Tell them next time.
So that's going to be a hard one to follow.
With some motions from the high school band, Ms. Mosser is going to bring Seth Long forward and introduce you to him.
First of all, I'd like to introduce, I'm Molly Mosser, in case you didn't know that, and this is my student, Seth Long, and I brought him along tonight to kind of show him off because we've been all over the East Coast in the last few weeks, He started his journey at district band, at the district band festival. Actually, he had a county band festival, but he's been traveling to a festival. That was our 9th one that we were at the other day, I think. So, yes. So he started at districts. He auditioned for that in December. He made district band. Then he made district orchestra, which was a first experience for him. He had not done that before, and we both really enjoyed that experience. Then he auditioned at both of those festivals and went on to regional band, and was also auditioned and made his first chair in regional orchestra. And then at that point he had to choose because he could have gone to both. But after that, they can only choose one ensemble, so he also made it for state orchestra and state band. But they choose by regions. He didn't get a chance to go to orchestra, so he went as a band member. In addition, he also auditioned and went to Atlantic City for All Eastern. And so that meant that all the kids from northern Maine all the way to, I think, Maryland, Delaware, so all along the East Coast. So he was chosen out of hundreds. I just brought these along to you just so you can look at some of them. So back to, in addition to that, when he attends these festivals, I'm either lucky enough to listen to French horns play and judge them, but more so at the All Eastern Festival and the PMEA conference, I also get to attend workshops and watch conductors and experience those kinds of things. So Seth has been representing us very well. He was to states last year. He's going this year. And I have every intention of taking him again next year. So, yeah. So we're very proud of him. He is, I'd like to take all the credit for him and say he's a product of us, but he takes private lessons. He works very hard. He works, most of his hours are outside of school, and he puts all of his time in. He is currently working on a video to send so he can become, hopefully, he'll be chosen for nationals, which will be next year in November in Disneyland, so Disney World. So, woohoo! Anyway, so I brought his plaque because I thought that would be cool when I'm putting things. Like, I'll pass it that way you can say ooh and ah. And then I would like you to just listen. He's brought a snippet for you to play. I encourage him to play it off. Just look at that. Doesn't that look like? Yeah. Okay, I'll be quiet now. I'm going to sit down.
This is part of my district.
We have a second part tonight for high school, a presentation from Spanish Club. I was thinking about canceling after that butterfly performance, but we'll continue on. We have our 3 Spanish teachers here with us tonight. Sorry, 2. Dos. Mrs. Snyder, who's up front here, and also Mrs. Demakowitz. She's in the back, she'll be coming too. And I will turn it over to them to do their presentation.
Estimados miembros de nuestra Junta Escolar, gracias por la oportunidad de estar aquí esta noche. Estamos muy contentos de tener la oportunidad de compartir con ustedes un poquito sobre las actividades de nuestro club de español. Don't worry, it's still in part in Spanish. Esteemed members of our school board, thank you for the opportunity to allow us to be here tonight. We are very happy to have this opportunity to share with you a bit about our activities in Spanish Club. This year marks the first in over 20 years that NL has had an actively meeting Spanish Club. The Spanish Club this year has met twice a month to practice our language skills and participate in cultural activities. The first Thursday of each month was designated to work on listening and speaking skills. During some months, we broke into small groups to discuss various topics in Spanish, and other months we practiced our language skills through games, like El Ahorcado, or Hangman in Spanish.
During this school year, we have had nearly 60 students join us for various activities. One of the group favorites was making tortillas. In the fall, and again in the spring, we have borrowed the family consumer science kitchens, and some of our students of Hispanic heritage have taught the rest of the group how to make tortillas with tortilleros and comales. After we made them, we filled them with our favorite toppings and enjoyed a tortilla feast.
In October, Mrs. Hauser, parent and Zumba instructor, volunteered her time to teach us some different types of Latin dance, including salsa, merengue, and bachata. Our dancing may not have looked as smooth as hers, but we all had a lot of fun trying.
In December, we visited the Countryside Community Home in Annville to sing Christmas carols to the residents. We walked through the halls and stopped into some rooms singing traditional carols both in Spanish and English. The residents loved having visitors. In fact, they didn't want us to leave. After singing, we stopped at Salsa's restaurant for tacos.
Right. Some of our other activities this year included playing dominoes, watching a movie in Spanish, making piñatas, celebrating Carnival with a piñata breaking party, and making decorations for our Cinco de Mayo celebrations. We also decided to elect officers for next year so that the club can become even more active. As a senior, I wish the underclassmen the best in planning for next year, and on behalf of all of us, we would like to thank you as members of the school board for your continued support of language learning at Northern Lebanon.
Thank you very much for those presentations. I'd like to go now to the special presentations. The High School Student of the Month for May is Caitlin Adams and Amber Arnold. This award is sponsored jointly by the Fredericksburg and Jonestown Lions Clubs, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Lions Club. The Middle School Student of the Month for May is Nathan Shirk. The Middle School Student for the month of June is Caitlin Boisvert. This award is sponsored by the Northern Lebanon County Rotary Club, and each recipient will be recognized at a future meeting of the Rotary Club. If any of those students are here, they can stand and be recognized. recognize all the middle school and high school students of the month for the 2016-2017 school year. Is there somebody here from the Lions Club?
Okay, I will be reading the names of our students of the month for high school this year. I will start with September. When you come forward, when you hear your name, you can come forward and you can shake multiple hands up here, I guess, and get your certificate. And we also ask that you line up across the front. I believe that's what we usually do. And then at the end, we have you go into the hallway for a picture. For September, we have Eric Herb. Eric, you got a lot of applause, but we're going to hold the rest of the applause to the end. Catherine Wendling. Drashti Patel. Megan Brandt. Philip Lum. Heather Wolf. Amber Kinser. Christopher Taylor. Zachary Miller. Seth Walmer. Taylor Hill. Zoe Zerman. Noah Smith. Christian Wiener. Clayton Adams. Amber Arnold. Aja Secondary. And Nathaniel Yakovich. Please give these students a round of applause. You may proceed to the hallway for a picture.
Good evening. For middle school students of the month, a number of these students aren't here tonight. There was a miscommunication in the correct night, but we do have one. I'll read through all the names, and if you're here, come forward. Megan DeAngelis for September. Estrella Lopez, October. Kevin Lowen, November. Alexandra Schenk, December. Olivia Cheslak, January. Jocelyn Mertz, February. Sonia Delgado Cruz, March. Veronica Warren, April. Nathan Shirk, May. And Caitlin Boisford for June.
congratulations to all those students. And we'll move on now to the student board member, Taylor Urban.
Okay, I'm gonna start by just going through some of the field trips that we've been having in the high school. Mr. and Mrs. Finken were able to take a group of seniors on a trip to the Holocaust Museum in DC on April 11th. Mr. Wentling took his economics class to New York City on April 13th. Took her geology class to Ashland and Centralia on April 17th. Ms. Sowers will take her environmental science class on horseshoe crab study to the Delaware Bay tomorrow. The varsity club will attend the Barnstormers game tomorrow. The freshman class trip to DC will occur on Friday. And the senior class trip to Six Flags in Manhattan will occur on May 25th. Mini-thon had occurred on Saturday, April 22nd. Those involved were able to raise $18,000 for the kids. However, we had noticed a significant decrease in attendance. This year, only about 80 students had attended the event, while last year's attendance consisted of approximately 150 students. This lack of participation is something that we've been noticing across many clubs and teams within NL. A multitude of club advisors, coaches, and involved students have noticed that the numbers for almost all of the clubs and sports at NL have been significantly dropping. While there may not be a distinct solution to this problem, I do think it is one that deserves attention. I believe that so many students' lack of understanding of the benefits of being involved regarding the advancement in leadership, organizational, and teamwork skills is what causes them to be unmotivated in joining a sport or club. I hope that in future years, students will be made fully aware of the benefits of participation in out-of-school and after-school activities, thus encouraging our school's performance and attendance in these sports clubs, etc. While those who were involved in sports this year and such have been excelling, like in basketball and wrestling, I do think that it would be extremely beneficial on behalf of the entirety of the student body for more students to just get involved in general. And a significant amount of seniors have been upset about the fact that we can't decorate our caps this year at graduation. A lot of people are actually talking about this. They're really excited to graduate, but they wish they could celebrate by decorating their caps. Today, the AP exams had finished being taken. The high school students had the options to take AP Chemistry, Spanish, Literature and Composition, Calculus, and U.S. History. The students will find out what they received in July, but I've been hearing mixed results regarding their predicted scores for the different subjects. On a positive note, prom had occurred on April 28th, and everyone had a good time dancing and spending time with their friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. Any old business?
I see that there are candidates here tonight. Could you introduce the candidates for people who were not here maybe last week?
The candidates that are running for the school director position, would you please stand up? I do have to stand up. And could you introduce yourselves?
Rachel Sekelic, running, can't move, sorry, I'm going to bump this and it's going to fall all over the place.
Daniel Finken.
David Klein.
I'm Kelly Walker.
Glenn Brett.
And just as a note, hopefully you took a good look at them, and if you have any questions after the meeting, that would be the time you can go up and ask them any questions that you would like. Thank you very much. Public input, we have no public input tonight that is for an agenda item. We do have two that are non-agenda items that we'll get to. That brings us to the approval of the consensus agenda. Director Sell.
I move the consensus agenda.
Discussion? Call the vote.
Edson.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Erdman.
Yes.
Lum.
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
England.
Yes.
Hefner.
Yes.
Sal.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
All in favor.
Management Committee.
Just like to just mention, we are going into the business part of our meeting, so if there are students that want to kind of just slip out now, that would probably be a good time for them to, it would be a long meeting for those poor little guys.
Thank you.
They did a great job tonight, though. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Moving on to management committee, I move item A.
Discussion?
At your places, a request was made last week in relationship to the tax revenue from the building expansion. I want to thank the guys for working that out today. Good job. And the expansion is the 206 square feet. Remember, this is what they're looking at for the LERTA approval. You've already approved the previous building, which is about just a little under 900 square feet. And these would be the revenues just on the 200 square feet section of that. So if you have any questions, the gentlemen are back with us tonight, and I'm sure they'd be more welcome to answer any.
Board members have any questions? If not, let's call a vote.
Howard?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
England?
Yes.
Heckman?
Yes.
Sal?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Bixler?
Yes.
All in favor?
I move item B.
Second.
Discussion? Ben is still smiling, so he's not backing out, so that's a good thing. Okay. Call the vote.
Erdman?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
England?
Yes.
Heckman?
Yes.
Sal?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Bixler?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
All in favor?
Thank you, Mr. Adams. I move item C.
Second.
Discussion? Call the vote.
Lund?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
England?
Yes.
Heckman?
Yes.
Sal?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Bixler?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
All in favor?
Mrs. Martin. I move item D.
Second.
Discussion?
I just wanted to make mention of item number 4 under D is something new that's been added to the agenda, and I don't have a problem adding this, but I'm wondering if there has ever been any discussion about adding a digital substitute type search. That just might be something that we may want to look at. So.
Yes, there has been, as a matter of fact, the board authorized this replacement of the individual.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
When was that start?
Back when Lena handed in her resignation, probably 2 months ago. Leanne and Lena did the interviews. If you have any questions concerning them, you could see Leanne. But the process of a computerized system, which I'm assuming you're alluding to, running in the IU, their actual success rate is much lower than ours.
Thank you.
Dr. Bell, what is the current fill rate right now for substitutes?
You mean a percentage?
Yeah.
I have no idea off the top of my head, except to tell you a Friday in May doesn't exist anymore. Everybody takes off.
But out of people that take off, how many of them are filled?
Overall, or on any given day? Overall, we're into the 80% range.
So the position is a certain amount of hours, or, because Mrs. Reuter is the secretary for Jonestown, so this position,
Mrs. Royer does this on an hourly basis.
so this
It would be the same for this position. Nothing's changed.
I would just mention just the idea of a person calling for a substitute, from my perspective, would be much more powerful, because the person that is answering the phone. Yeah, well, when I first started back into subbing, in Pine Grove, they called, and there were days that I was like, well, I've got boss booked for the studio, so I want to come in, but the secretary at the school is like, we could really use you. We're really, so it kind of tugs at your string, and you want to be helpful. So I do see that personal touch as being, being something that I would see as a positive.
Any other discussion?
Call the vote.
Murray?
Yes.
England?
Yes.
Heckman?
Yes.
Sell?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
All in favor?
I move item E.
Second.
Discussion?
You also have a ballot in front of you. That needs to be signed and then give it to Mary.
BTC. Any other discussion? Call the vote.
England?
Yes.
Heckman?
Yes.
Sell?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
All in favor?
I move item F.
Discussion? Call the vote.
Heckman?
Yes.
Sell?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
England?
Yes.
All in favor?
I move item G.
Second.
Discussion?
Please note the revision of 223 with a deletion of a paragraph that we discussed last week in relation to bicycles, approval by principals.
Any other discussion? If not, call the vote.
Sell?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
England?
Yes.
Heckman?
Yes.
All in favor?
I move item H. Second.
Discussion?
I guess I'm just wondering why it wasn't on the agenda for last week.
This is simply something that needs to be done for nutrition, and they're here if you have any questions for them. It needs to be approved by the Commonwealth of PA. It's not a nutrition contract per se. It's what they need to have authorized for the PDE. If you'd like any expansion on that, feel free to questions or provide any further information.
So, just to, I'm not sure I'm understanding your explanation. Why wasn't it on the agenda last week?
It just came up for us to put on the agenda, so we had to put that on now. They need to get authorization. Is it June?
30th.
June 30th, and we thought that if we put it on now, we'd be better than waiting.
I have a question. My question is, I think Michelle Obama really messed up school lunches, and now we have a new president, Donald Trump, who's repealing a lot of wasted regulations and things like that. Do you see our lunches going back to something that our students can actually be proud to eat?
Sure. The Department of Agriculture Secretary did just approve 3 modifications to the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act to start next year. The first of which is the sodium reductions requirement, is not going to go any farther next year. It'll remain what it is this year. The second one is that we will now be allowed to serve 1% flavored milk. So instead of skimmed chocolate milk, skimmed strawberry milk, it would be allowed to be 1% milk, which I think will be more appealing to the students. And the third one was the making the grain waiver a permanent fixture. So the district had waited until this year to institute the grain waiver. We did that about halfway through because we were worried that any year they could have that reversed back and try to have to reintroduce the students to all the whole grain foods. It doesn't mean we're not serving whole grains any longer. It just means that we have the option of giving a list of items that we would like to serve in white bread as well. So we listed 6 items. We still have to serve over 51% of our items have to be whole grain, and we're only doing the alternates at the secondary level, not the elementary level, because they're already used to the whole grains. They're staying with those at this point. So the answer is yes, we have seen some changes, and we're hoping to make this more as well.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Dr. Bell, I just want to confirm, so you're saying that this is not a contract?
No, it isn't. It's for the approval from Nutrition Inc., or from the Department of Education for Nutrition Inc. If you want to, I think your contract's up at the end of next year. So you as board members, if you're interested in contracting with someone else, you need to go to bid next year.
Anyone else? Call the vote.
Bixler?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Erdman?
Yes.
Lund?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
England?
Yes.
Heckman?
Yes.
Sell? Gray?
Yes.
All in favor?
I will item I.
Second.
Discussion?
I'd like to thank Rachel for bringing up and having us get sent the wish list. It was very informative. And I'd like to talk about the wish list for a minute. I'm actually very disappointed in where we are at the board and where the wish list came out at. I feel that we're so focused on the past, and we got to remember what those first graders and what we're trying to get them for their diploma. You know, this last year we focused on typing and sewing machines. They're 1950 skills, not 2017 skills. It was really cool in the 50s to get a typing job where you go in a huge room and type, because there was no Word. There was just typing machines. And if you needed something typed, you had to type it over and over and over again. And you could make a great living today. I don't know anybody today that makes a living typing. Sewing machines. Do you know how much clothes are made in this country? Less than 2%. If you've ever been to the mall, or have a teenage daughter, or been on a college campus, the focus isn't sewing their clothes. Their focus is buying clothes with holes in them. We should be supplying our consumer science department with technology to help save our parents money to provide holes for our teenage daughter's jeans. Those first graders that we had out there tonight, some of them will never, ever drive a car. They will never need to get behind the wheel of a car. Why? Because the car is going to take them wherever they want to go. And that's the technology that we need to focus on. If you can get a car that can take you wherever you want to go, and that technology is probably 4 or 5 years away to be available to the public. If you can have a car that can take you where you want to go, think of all the jobs and the careers that aren't needed, and the skills that won't be needed. Hang around a teenager when they use their phone. 10 years ago, it was all thumbs. Now they talk to somebody called Sirius. And the phone does whatever they want to. You don't need to type. And typing isn't with their fingers, it's with their thumbs when they do that. We need to change our whole focus and our ambitions, and we need to do what Wayne Gretzky tells his hockey players to do. Skate where the puck is going. not skate where the puck is. Unfortunately, Northern Lebanon and a bunch of other school districts are focused on skating to where the puck was. We as a board implemented typing. That's where the puck was. We spent money on sewing machines. That's where the puck was. Robotics, artificial intelligence, that's where we need to focus. We need to give Northern Lebanon students at a very, very early age the footing that they need to be successful for where the puck's going. And I don't think the wish list does that. The wish list has, from the biology department, and this really blows my mind, 3 vans. How does 3 vans improve our science scores? I'm very confused by that. A lot of other things just aren't really focused where the world's headed. And we need to spend our money wisely and focus on the future, not the past.
Anyone have any comments?
I have some comments on the budget now.
Dave, just before you make the budget, just want to, and I'm not argumentative, but I do want to say that the typing, I don't get, my job is not paid in typing. When I worked for a lab in the photo industry that was connected with Kodak, I was never paid for typing, but I use typing every single day of my job. I use it every single day of my job today, and it makes me much more efficient. So, you know, I think I totally agree with you that looking at where the puck is, but I would look at it more not where we think it's going to be, but what generalized skills do the students need? Because that puck, you may think it's going that way, and it might move over this way. So as long as you are educating the whole student and giving them those skills, that they'll be able to transfer to wherever that puck is going. I totally agree with you. That, you know, that yes, but just to narrowly say, well, we're going to have driverless cars, and so we'll somehow change, you know, that might change. And so it may be that they find that it's not something that is, you know, it probably is, but let's just say they decide not to, and so it's kind of like when I was in high school, everybody said we're going to go metric. So our whole school system said, okay, we're going to go metric, so we're learning all the metric stuff, and guess what? 40 years later, 40 plus years later, I won't tell exactly how many, but many, many years ago, we're still on, you know, on rulers and yardsticks, and so you kind of have to, I think, kind of blend both of those. But I do agree with your general premise that we have to look at a broader, more encompassing, but still focus on training the whole student. Because I would, just one other comment I'll let you go. Because I would say, you know, even in my school district and other educators I talk to, there's all discussions about cursive writing, or if you want to teach multiplication facts because you've always got this thing. But basically, to me, to teach the whole student, if that student is somewhere they do not have their cell phone with them, you know, why create students that are so totally dependent on their cell phones that they can't function without them? So knowing basic math facts, knowing those kinds of things, I think still is a valuable asset to our students, no matter what career or direction they want to go in. So, but continue now. Just wanted to.
I don't disagree with that. You know, I do think that when you talk to people in their 80s, I think they got it right. I mean, I think they focus on reading, writing, arithmetic, and also relevance. I mean, what is relevant today? I do think some things have changed permanently. Why do we focus on memorizing all the presidents when your phone is charged and working? You can ask Sirius who the 35th president is without memorizing that. You know, work on skills that are relevant, like the logic and thinking. I'm very concerned that we don't teach our children to think enough. We just think, you know, how to memorize some useless facts that don't really teach you how to be logical, rationalized, like thinking. And I think some of those things, we as a board are going to be responsible, and we as society to redirect. I think one of the issues in education is the people that make the decisions are too old and too far away from being the student. And we don't get enough input from our students to what they need to learn and what skills to get their input and factor it. Because the world has changed so quickly with technology, and even our phones, what are we up to, Apple 8 or 9 or 10? You know, I mean, and each one is a major upgrade, and we're not keeping up, and our curriculum is not giving our students what they need, the skills they need to survive in the workplace. That's my 2 cents on that. I still am lobbying for a 0% budget. I'd like to see us vote this down and put up the 0% bounds. I still think the senior citizen has never and will never recover with 0% increases for a couple of years, and last year 0.3%. I think the working middle class has not recovered from the Great Recession, and it'd be nice to take a break and have a 0% increase. I don't disagree with Rachel that if we would repeat 3 years of 0% tax increases, that would be setting us up for a large increase. Steve Bonney and I are not proposing 3 years of 0 increases. We would all like to see 1 0 increase. And those 3 years that we had 0 increases, we had no learner dollars coming in. We have 7 or 8 learner dollars coming in, and this one small 200,000 square foot warehouse increases an $8,000 increase every year with 0% tax increase. So we have a lot of money coming in as a tax increase, and frankly, we don't need to raise taxes, and I'm really afraid that the motivation behind this is so we can have another record raise to our teachers when the contract's up, versus trying to be fair to our stakeholders and our students and our taxpayers.
Dave, I understand what you're saying about not wanting to increase, and I certainly don't want to burden our taxpayers either, but speaking about the wish list, as I look through the wish list, I think that certainly there are some pie in the sky wishes, and maybe we need to be a little bit more clear as far as what we mean by a wish list, or maybe we need to give better directive or as far as what that is and what's included in that. There are some things on that list that I think absolutely need to be addressed, and we talked about, and I don't think it's on the wish list, but we talked about bathrooms and just the whole stadium needing updates. There's lots of updates that need to happen throughout the school. I don't want to continue to say we wish we could have fixed some of those things. I think as I look at that wish list, there's a lot of staff requests on there. We do not have emotional support right now in our high school. Our emotional support children do not have an emotional support room to go to. There is not a staffed emotional support room. That is a concern to me. I think that some of those things on that wish list are not wishes, they are needs. And I want to make sure that we are meeting those needs for our students.
And I hear you, and if it's a need, why keep $1.9 million, $2 million under your budget proposal? Why are we banking all that money if we have a need versus a wish? Why don't we have those things in this year's budget?
I agree with that, Dave.
Well,
I agree with that.
I would say that because the reason that we don't is that yes, we could spend it all and do all of these needs and wants, but you know, the fact of the matter is that we really do need to have a healthy ending fund balance. Dave, you said it so well many years ago as president that you know we're going to make decisions that they're two good decisions and you want them both, but you know, you have to take what you can take, and one of those is, you know, do we want to maintain a healthy ending fund balance that will protect us for a rainy day, or do we want to spend it and then find out that we have something that all of a sudden lands in our lap and we have to scramble to find a way to finance it. So that's where I would say that that we don't just go and spend it on everything that we need.
I have a couple of comments. As I was sitting down thinking through all of this, I just have a couple, I think they're facts surrounding the rationale for a slight tax